Hey, hi guys, welcome to INSECTECHS. I am Kiran Tirkovala, and in this class we will be learning about banner grabbing. So what is banner grabbing? Grabbing means to get something or to hold something, and banner is nothing but a piece of information. Just like when you open some website like YouTube or any other text-based websites like blogs, you will see some banner ads over there that provides some kind of information. That could be a text-based information or image-based information. So banner is nothing but a piece of information. So in the context of ethical hacking, banner is a piece of information about the software and the service information. So when a developer is developing a software, writing a code of software, he or she will write about the software, like a name of the software, developer, and on what platforms the software is compatible, or on what platforms the software will work. And in the later stages, when the software is rewritten, or if some bugs are patched, or if some new features are added, then the developer or the developing company will give some version numbers with updates, so like version 1.0, 1.1, 2.0, and so on. So this information is written in the banner part or a header part of that particular software. So when the software is giving the services, and when we as a penetration tester try to get information of that banner, so that is called as a banner grabbing. And it is very important for a penetration tester to grab the information. So it is very important for the penetration tester to grab information, a banner information of any software or a service, so that based on the information about the software name and version numbers, we can find out the vulnerabilities on the target machine or a targeting network devices. So as you can see in the slide, what is a banner? Banner is small text-based information that is displayed in response when you try to establish connection on a remote server. So when you try to establish a connection on certain port on a remote server, if the port is alive and if it responds, then it responds about itself with some information that is available in the banner. So what is banner grabbing? Banner grabbing or OS fingerprinting is a technique used to gather information about remote computer systems such as web server, FTP server, email servers, service or software information, that is what we have talked, and the version number of the operating system of a target machine. Now here we are talking about OS printing as well, as you can see on the slide. So we can actually find the operating system of a target machine as well. Say for example, if I give you a random IP address 192.168.36.25, and if I ask you to tell what is that device or what operating system is installed on that device which is having said IP address, then 100% it is sure that you will not be able to guess the operating system installed on that device. So in that scenario, you have to do banner grabbing, or you have to use this banner grabbing technique in order to find the operating system installed on that target machine. And most of the tools, when we are using for banner grabbing, these tools will have database of signatures. When we try to establish communication with a target computer, when we receive the responses are compared with these signatures in the databases, and the information of operating system, name of the operating system, is revealed. So this is how we can actually do the OS fingerprinting to find the operating system information and software and service version numbers. So this is called as a banner grabbing. So in this slide you can see purpose of banner grabbing. We have already discussed information gathering, service identification, and version detection. And how banner grabbing works: establish a connection with a target computer and request for a banner information. Then you can capture banner information for further analysis that we will see in the practical classes. And there are two types of methods to grab the banners, that is banner grabbing: manual methods and using the tools. So we will be covering both manual method and tools in this class. So let us start grabbing the banner, and we are going to see a couple of tools. Now open your favorite browser and type site report netcraft. Okay, as you can see over here, the link sitereport.netcraft.com. click on the link, and what's that running? You have already seen this website link, and you have used the netcraft in passive information gathering. So we are using the same link once again, and let us type website https www.insectechs.in, and let me click on lookup button, and Netcraft is working to gather the information to display you on the browser. And this is the whois information, site information, and so on, IP delegation, and so on, the location. And if I scroll down, SSL certificate information, certificate transparency, under hosting history, as you can see, this is a Linux operating system, and the technology or a web server has light speed. So this is OS fingerprinting, and we got to know that the target domain or a target server has a Linux operating system on it, and we unable to get any kind of service or version number. So let me try on different websites over here. Say for example google.com. Google has GWS, that is Google Web Server or Web Services. Site report for google.com, as you can see over here. So under hosting history, you will get the banner or operating system information. Let me try with redhat.com. So try on different domains for your learning purpose. So this is the way, this is one way to get information, OS information, and server and version number information. As you can see now, in the redhat.com, when we try to get the information, we got it is a Linux machine, and Akamai Ghost is a web software, is a server software that is installed. So here we didn't get any version number, but we got to know that it is using Akamai G host and it is on Linux operating system. So this is kind of a banner grabbing. So you can go to a Google and type Akamai G host. What is this software all about? Okay, what is Akamai used for? It is a content delivery network. It is CDN, and it helps to deliver the content to user quickly and reliably. So Red Hat is using Akamai G host. However, we were unable to get its version number over here. Okay, so let me go back to google.com. So Netcraft was one small technique that we have used, or we get to know that there is a Netcraft service to find a banners of some target machine or a target domain. So in the Google, let me type IDServe download. So it is very old tool that was actually created about in 2002-2003 time. As you can see, IDServe, Internet Server Identification Utility. So let me click on the link, and as you can read over here, IDServe. Ultimately, the security of your personal information is your responsibility. You can read about this tool over here in these paragraphs, and let me download the tool. Click on the download now. So what is HTTP server identification? What is non-HTTP server identification? Reverse DNS lookup. Additional applications for IDServe. You can read about this tool in the main page of this domain grc.com. And let me click on the download now. You can click on the download now. I have already downloaded the application, as you can see over here. So let me minimize the browser, and as you can see, IDServe. Now double click on the icon over here, and as you can see, background, server query, and Q&A. We have 3 tabs over here, and you can read about the tool here as well. I hope you will read this, and this is the server query part, where you are going to give an IP address or a domain name in order to query or find the information about the target domain or a target IP address. And here server query processing, and here you will get the result of your query. And Q&A, question and answers. How does IDServe determine site web server? So this is called as a banner or a header information. As you can read, all web server replies begins with series of lines of information known as headers. Here is a typical set of query responses. Means you got this reply as a response for querying, and in the second line, as you can see, this is the server information. So Microsoft server is web server, and the version number is 5.0. And what happen if I enter IP address instead of URL? You can enter the IP address as well. So I hope you will read this text or read this information before you actually go into server query. Now here you can actually type your target domain name, for example www.insectechs.com, and let me click once again on the query the server. So IP address is 88.99.99.104, and by default the connection is established to on port 80, and as you can see connected, and we got some header information. HTTP moved permanently means a redirection has taken place to HTTPS. So as you can see, Lightspeed is a technology or the web server, and we only got software information but not the version number. Let me type 88.99.99.104, which is the IP address of INSECTECHS. Now I am actually querying or trying to establish connection on port 21, for example. So you know port 21 is FTP port. Let me hit enter, and as you can see, initiating server query, looking up the domain name for IP address, and the domain name for IP address is kaiserinet3net.net. Trying to connect to server on port 21, connected, and we got a greetings. This is exactly the banner. So this is the software banner of pure FTPD, and here also we did not get the version number, but we will try to get version numbers on different target machines. Keep trying on different domain names, vulnerabilities.com, and hit enter. Query the server. So as you can see from the header information, we got a server information. Server is Nginx and version is 1.19.0, as you can see over here. So this is the version information and the software information we got from the banner grabbing on the target domain vulnerabilities.com. So this is how you can do a query on a target domain to retrieve a banner information. So this is the banner information from port 80. Let me try the same on port 21 or 23 as well. So no connection was received from the remote server. So here on the fourth tab, you will know what is the server information and the version number. Okay. Now we will use Telnet to grab the banner information. So what is Telnet? You can see on the slide. Telnet is a very old application, a network protocol that runs on port 23 or 2323, that is 2323. It is a client server based protocol and is used to establish TCP connections. TCP reliable connections on port 23 means Telnet is used to establish remote terminal sessions or log into remote network or remote servers or computers, and even it can be used to log into a routers and other networking devices to manage them. And Telnet can be used to run the programs on remote devices and create and delete files, folders, browse the files and folders, transfer the files, start and stop services, etc. So Telnet is a command line utility and is now actually replaced with SSH. SSH is secure shell, and it is replaced with SSH because it does not encrypt the data that is transferred. So anyone who is eavesdropping on a network can easily see the data in the plain text like login and password information and so on. So let us start using the Telnet. And on Windows, by default Telnet is not available and you need to enable the Telnet. But in the Linux systems like Ubuntu, Kali Linux, you can see the Telnet by default, or Telnet is installed by default. So now let me head back to Windows computer. This is my host machine and it is Windows 10 operating system, and by default, as said, Telnet does not enabled in Windows computers, in latest Windows computers. So you need to open control panel. So type control panel, and under programs and features, you have an option turn Windows features on and off. Click on this and here you see a window, and if you scroll down, here you see Telnet client. By default this is unchecked for you. I have already enabled it by checking. So you check it and click on the OK button. Now let me close the window, and if I open CMD and if I type Telnet and hit enter, as you can see Microsoft Telnet. So let me type help and hit enter, and these are the commands that you can use to work with Telnet. And let me exit QUIT and let me go back to Kali Linux machine or a Parrot machine in this case. So if I type Telnet over here and hit enter, I'm in Telnet, and let me type help command, and as you can see these are all the options: close, logout, display, mode, quit, send, etc. Now we can use you can use the Telnet on any version of Windows as well as Linux operating systems, Macintosh also. So let me try to grab the banner of INSECTECHS.in or any other website, Telnet, www.redhat.com, and let me try to establish connection on port 80 and hit enter. Trying to connect, let me hit Ctrl C and let me type -4. So this gives the IP address, trying to connect to IP address in IP4 version. So you are seeing the IP in IPv6. So let me now try enter. So as you can see, Telnet is connected to 23.196.129.206 on port 80. Okay, and let me use the same command on Windows machine. Telnet 4.redhat.com, and let me type 80, and as you can see, Telnet is now connected on port 80 for domain redhat.com. And if you see on a Windows machine, you got some reply like header information and so on. Okay, this is the header information, and as you can see, we got banner information as well. Server is Apache host MIME version 1.0 and some information. When you come to a Windows server information, Apache host and so on, this is the header information as you can see. Okay, let me hit Ctrl C and quit in the Windows. It's already connection is already closed by the foreign host. So this is how you can grab the banners of any machine. So let me type on port 21, hit enter. Again trying to establish connection on 23.196.29 and 129.206. If the port is open, you will get the connection as you can see connected. So you can say that the port 80 is open and responding. Okay. So now if I come over here, you can see Kali Linux Windows Server 2019 29 and 14 is IP address, and my Metasploitable is up and running, and the IP is 192.168.29 and 157. It is a vulnerable machine. So let me try to telnet on 192.168.29 and 157. Telnet 192.168.29 and 157. And as you can see, trying to connect to IP and connected on 29.157 Metasploit. And if I type Metasploit username and password MSF admin, and the password is MSF admin as well. If I type enter, now I'm in Metasploit, and I can create files, delete files. So ls cd vulnerable, cd vulnerable ls. Now you have folders over here, files and folders over here. So now I can remotely manage this Metasploitable machine because I have remotely logged into this machine using a Telnet application. So let me go back to my Windows command prompt, cls telnet 192.168.29.14, which is Windows server. Let me hit enter. It's trying to or connecting to 192.168.29.14. It is still trying. Connection is not yet established. 192.168.29.14 Windows server, and is trying to connect. So could not open connection on port 23. So let me try to establish connection on port 80. Hit enter, and the connection is established. On Windows computers, when you use Telnet, you will have a blank screen if connection is established. So let me hit back to Kali Linux or Paratois in this case, and now let me try to establish connection on port 80, and as you can see, connected to 192.168.29 and 14. Let me go back to CMD. As you can see, we have some information bad request, and the server is Microsoft HTTP 2.0. so this is the banner information we got from 192.168.29.14. okay, and we got some header information and so on. So you can try this banner grabbing even after you're doing the scanning and enumeration classes, because in the scanning and enumeration you will see what are all the live machines, and you will scan all the machines for open ports. Then you can try to grab the banners on all the open ports. Okay, So let me hit Ctrl C once again and clear the screen. Telnet www.redhat.com, and let me type port 80. Hit enter. We have already done grabbing the banner on redhat.com. So this is how you can use Telnet to grab the banner information. You can see over here we have some information, that is header information as well as the banner information, server Akamai host. So let me close this terminal, and the next tool we are going to use is Netcat, a Swiss Army knife tool, and by using it we are going to do the same work, that is grabbing the banners. So as you can see, this is Wikipedia page for Netcat, and you can read about Netcat over here. Netcat is often abbreviated to NC. So Netcat NC and is a computer networking utility for reading from and writing to network connections using both TCP and UDP. The command is designed to be dependable backend that can be used directly or easily driven by other programs and scripts. These are the features of Netcat: outbound and inbound TCP connections to and from any ports, full DNS forward and reverse checking, ability to use local source port, ability to use any locally configured network source addresses, built-in port scanning and randomization, and so on. So let me explain what Netcat is. It is a versatile tool and very powerful networking utility that can be used for various purposes, as you can see the features over here, and it is sometimes called as a Swiss Army knife because of its features. The primary uses of Netcat, or you can say features of Netcat, are network connectivity, port scanning, banner grabbing, file transfer, port forwarding, remote shell, proxy server, chat, network testing, debugging, and you can use it for backdoor creation, which is very powerful and very dangerous also. So for network connectivity, you can use Netcat to connect network connections between two computers so that it can be useful for transferring the files or sending and receiving the data, or you can use it for setting up the network services as well. And when it comes to port scanning, you can use Netcat to perform port scanning, which involves checking whether specific port is open and accessible or not. Then when it comes to banner grabbing, the other features which is important and relevant to this class is that Netcat can be used for retrieving the banner information that reveals details about the software and the version running on that specific port. And file transfer, you can use Netcat for transferring the files. Port forwarding, so you can configure Netcat as a port forwarder so that you can able to redirect traffic from one port to another port. It is used in network troubleshooting basically. Then remote shell, you can use to open a remote shell on a target system, which is handy for remote administration and troubleshooting, that is remote shell. Then you can configure Netcat as a proxy server. You can use Netcat for chatting, and you can use Netcat for testing and debugging. When you have any faulty network services, then you can use Netcat for testing and debugging the network issues. Finally, when it comes to backdoor, you can use Netcat to create or use Netcat as a backdoor. It can be used maliciously to create backdoors on remote servers to creating an unauthorized access points on that particular system that you have hacked. Let me open the Kali Linux machine. So I'll show you demonstration of Netcat on Kali Linux instead of a Windows machine. So I'm on my Parrot operating system. I'm using this operating system today. I'm loving it very much today. I don't know why. And instead of using Kali Linux, so let me open the terminal. And if we type nc, that is a command for Netcat, and let me type help, single hyphen not double hyphen, hit enter. As you can see, connect to somewhere, nc options, hostname, ports, and this is the command to use Netcat for listening, or to use Netcat for transferring the files, or to establish connections with remote computers, remote devices. So C for command shell commands, it is very dangerous actually, you can see over here. And E, program to execute after connection. And most often you will use this L, listen for inbound and outbound connections. P to specify the port number. V to verbose, use twice for more verbose, means VV hyphen VV. So let me clear the screen and let me demonstrate Netcat before we actually use it for banner grabbing. So let me minimize the Parrot operating system, and as you can see, this is metasploitable computer. If config 192.168.29.157, and this is my Parrot OS 192.168.29.169. Now what I'll do is, on this vulnerable metasploitable machine, I will open a port for listening. So netcat -help. So we will use L option and V option, and of course you have to mention P for port to listen to open the port for listening. Netcat Verboros listen port. Let me open 1337 port number and hit enter. Listening on 1337. Now what I'll do is, I'll try to establish a connection with this metasploitable machine, and I'll try to send some messages. Okay, netcat Verboros for more Verboros 192.168.29.157. let me hit enter, and I have to specify the port number, right? 1337. as you can see over here, connect to 192.168.29.157 from unknown, which is this IP. Okay, from 192.168.29.169, as you can see over here. So let me send some message. Hi, I love you. As you can see over here, the message is now transferred to 192.168.29.157, and as discussed in the netcat features, you can use it as a chat program as well. Okay, now you can give the replies as well. As you can see here, I'm chatting the both ways. So this is one beautiful feature of a netcat. Now we will use netcat for banner grabbing. Control C, and let me maximize the window of this operating system parrotwise. Let me clear the screen. So let me type command nc -v verbros /v for more verbros and insectechs.in, and I have to specify the port number. Okay, DNS forward reverse mismatch, and let me wait. So port is open, sent 0, received 0. So let me try on port 21, hit enter. As you can see, we have grabbed the banner information. Welcome to pure FTP daemon. So just copy and Google search about this software and check whether this software have any vulnerabilities. We don't have any version mentioned over here. Okay, so let me hit Ctrl C. Now let me type some other domain name, for example redhat.com, port 80, hit enter, and again, as you can see, DNS forward reverse mismatch on both the domain names. Let me try the command once again. And as you can see, we got some information, a banner information and a header information over here. Okay, so again, Dhaka my ghost, and you can actually try on different domains with different port numbers. Okay, for example 21. Control C, I'll clear the screen and I'll repeat the command once again, port 21. So no information received, sent 0, received 0. So anyway, the command is nc-vv, or you can use single v, domain name and the port number. So I want you to practice with different domain names and different port numbers and try to get some banner information. Okay, and as an assignment for practice, please open the Shodan and try to find the vulnerable devices, because Shodan is a device finder or search engine. So try to find the vulnerable devices and check the open ports on those devices and try to find the banner information of the services running on those ports. Okay, and next we will use nmap tool to retrieve the banner information. Let me close this. So as you can see on the screen, nmap-sv-p for port and IP address to scan this IP using nmap tool, and we got certain information. By the way, I'm not going to explain nmap tool in this video because we have separate 3-4 classes. It is an important tool. Nmap is very important tool, so I'm going to take 2, 3 or 4 classes separately only for nmap. So I want you to write this command and practice on your local machines or on your own domains. So when I typed nmap-sv and port number and the target IP, we got information port 80 is open. It means that this is a port scanning part, and the service information is Microsoft IAS, and the version information is 10.0. So this is the banner information that we got from Nmap tool, and we also got operating system information over here. So we got service information, version number information, as well as the operating system information. And here also, when I change the IP address to 29.157, which is metasploitable, we got Ubuntu as operating system information apart from Apache and Apache 2.2.8. So when we did Nmap scan on port 80 on 29.157, we got Apache, we got server or service information, version number, as well as the operating system information. And on 29.14, when I changed the port number to 21, okay, this was 80 and this is 21, we got information that port 21 is open, but no other information we got over here. Okay, similarly, when I use Nmap on port 21 for 29.157, we can see that port 21 is open. SMTP is the application that is running on the port 21, and the version number is 2.3.4. and we also got the OS information as Unix. I have done it on AC Council as well. So when I actually did Nmap scan on my own website on port 80, we got information like light speed. We didn't get any version number information, I guess. Okay, so we did not get version information, but we got some header information over here. And similarly, when I did on eccouncil.org on port 443, we got it as a Cloudflare. So we can see that port 443 is open and SSL HTTP Cloudflare. So this is how you can grab the banners of any software on that particular open ports. So that's it in this class, guys. Have a great day. Thank you for watching the video, and do subscribe to the YouTube channel INSECTECHS.